WTIM.
Good morning. You're listening to WTIM, your information station and our morning show. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, I've got Dick Breckenridge, volunteer at the Taylorville Food Pantry. Dick, good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, great, Grayson. Thank you for having us in to talk about this great subject of our Taylorville Food Pantry.
Well, I'm very happy to do so. And last month, we got to talk to Tyler Frump. This month, I get to see another new face in yourself here today, sir. And so interested to kind of dive into your background a little bit before we jump into some of those things, too. How long have you been volunteering with the Taylorville Food Pantry? What got you started? And tell us just a little bit about it.
I've been with the pantry, I think, going on 5 years. You kind of lose track of time, but I started during COVID. I had a good friend of mine ask if I'd be interested in helping, and truthfully, I grew up in this community and never really thought about the food pantry. And so one day I showed up at the food pantry, and here I am today, and still helping, a little less than what I used to because of some health issues. But I will tell you, it's a great, great group of people that operate a small grocery store. And we, in my mind, are a great service to our community, because food insecurity is a huge issue, not only nationally, but even here in Christian County.
It's something you don't think about until it happens to you or to your family. And so if you don't utilize those services, you might not think about the food pantry when it comes time to, maybe I could volunteer. And so I just hope that people realize, doesn't mean you have to need the services, sometimes to just provide said services too.
That's true. We have a spot for everyone, and show up, volunteer your time, and we'll find a place that suits your abilities, and would welcome any of that would be willing to do that.
And volunteers always needed, of course, at the Taylorville Food Pantry. I think one way to really show why food insecurity is a problem here locally, and one that we're dealing with at the Taylorville Food Pantry, is always talking about those numbers from the previous month. As far as I understand it, you've got some numbers from the month of August. What can you tell us about those served?
Yes, it's our numbers are going up here here recently. This in the month of August, we served 446 households, over 1,287 neighbors, and you might find it interesting that we use the term neighbors, not clients or anything else, describing our people that come through, but they are our neighbors. They're the people that live next door to you, that you may not know they're struggling, they're challenged, but they are our neighbors. They're part of our neighborhood. We also serve 67 new households, and that number always amazes me. We set the second highest record for service here in August, which here again, we're stepping up, meeting a growing need right now.
The second highest number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is probably pretty eye-opening for all involved.
Well, when we look at the food coming in and put a number to it, we brought in 8,807 pounds of food here in August. To year to date, 83,814 pounds. And since our beginning back in December of 2015, 928,615 pounds of food. It's an amazing project, and all of that comes through our doors. That we have the sources of our local grocery stores, our food pantry, our Central Illinois Food Bank, Midwest Food Distribution Center up in Normal. We have great sources, but all of that comes in. We have to put it on a shelf and then get it out on another shelf for our customers. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And to make this point, our volunteers are all unpaid. We have no paid staff there at the food pantry. It's strictly people's good time.
And people's good nature and
Yes.
good heart and
Yes.
willingness to serve others. 8,807 pounds here in the month of August, 83,000 plus year to date. Then we get to that big time number back from 2015 on, 928,000 plus pounds of food. We're nearing that 1 million pound mark, and all of it has been needed and distributed to those that do so. I want to come back to that 67 new households. That number has climbed again since last month with Tyler. New household wise, do you see that as, right now just the times are just difficult economically for families? Do you see a rise in maybe unemployment, homelessness? What do you kind of attribute some of these things to, other than just the economy's in a bad spot?
It's interesting. We live in a great town. There's no doubt about that. We have great opportunities here in Taylorville, but on the other side, childcare is very expensive. Our groceries are still at a level that can be very costly to a small family. Rent can be an issue. A number of things drive small families to come to us for help, and we see that, and we open our doors to those families, and it's just imagine trying to raise a family today. 2 children. I think the average children per household is 2.3. I'd like to see that 0.3, but we raised 3 boys, and the challenges of meeting the living costs today are substantial, and so those that have that need can come to us, and we love to help them. They're just really great people that come through our doors and are recipients of our what we have.
I love the willingness to help, but I also love the willingness to accept help too. Sometimes that can be a difficult step in that process of being willing to accept said help. But folks are coming and doing so at a high clip right now. And of course, there are a lot of factors to why folks need the help that they do. So you mentioned a minute ago about those food sources. I want to dive into some of those a little bit here, whether it is grocery stores or the various food banks. What can you tell me about their support? What can you tell me about their connection to their community?
Well, first of all, we have the Central Illinois Food Bank up in Springfield. It's in the old Pepsi building there on Cook Street. That source there we get twice a month as a truck comes down and delivers food out of the Central Illinois Food Bank to us. And then we have the Midwest Food Distribution Center up in Normal, Illinois. I'm an Illinois State graduate and kind of grew up around Bloomington, Normal, and never knew that existed. And yet I knew some of the history of that. But that's a source for us, and we can access. I think we go 4 times, 5 times a month. We have a trailer. We have volunteers that drive that trailer up to Normal, and it's loaded, and they bring it back, and we have to unload it. Sometimes it's on a pallet, but sometimes it's also loosely filled, and we have to unload that, separate it, put it in a storage spot, and it's a lot of work. But again, that's all volunteer. And then we look at our local sources, and you mentioned Walmart and Kroger, Aldi's, Taylorville Food Center, Dollar General are all great supporters with food that may be somewhat dated, but still will meet the need or the needs of the families coming in. We have local folks like Ron's Produce, McLean's that give us food occasionally, which is of great help. We have our community donations. People look in their cupboards and, well, we're not going to eat that, or we haven't eaten it in a while. We need to take it over to the food pantry. We always welcome those donations, and they are ongoing. It can also be a dollar amount. We have a number of people in the community that donate a little bit every month, and it's it can be large and small, but all of that comes together to support our food effort there at the pantry.
There is plenty that can be done with the dollars too. It's not just about the food, and so
Right.
I definitely glad that you mentioned that because the dollars can go a long ways. We can really stretch them at the food pantry.
Yes.
You mentioned, of course, the food banks and the food sources, but there was something you mentioned earlier about it being more like a grocery store. This is kind of a newer development. I know that this has been something that's in the works, and we've constantly been changing and adding. But these freezers, and now the selection of meat, and the possibility to select what meat you would like. I'm just wondering what you've seen in about 5 years in terms of change across the Taylorville Food Pantry and what you're able to provide.
Oh my. Number one, I guess the one thing I saw was we had old chest type freezers. The hinges were all not the best in the world, and lids were kind of shaky. And now we have two new commercial size chest type freezers. And as you mentioned, we now have a glass stand up case that has, I think, 7 different doors in it. Well, the first door would be chicken, and the next beef, pork, fish, and you get to select from each one. So that the ability for the neighbor to come in and look at what we have is more available, more ready for them to visualize. We used to put meat in what we call meat bundles, and I would go through the freezers and I would think, okay, we need some of this fish or that, and we would do a number, generally anywhere from 5 to 8, and they would get that bundle. They had no selection there. Whatever was in that bundle was what they had. Well, you recognize some people, it may be a medical condition, it may be their ethnicity, it could be, I don't like Brussels sprouts, and or I don't like this kind of fish. Well, this way they can make a selection, and it really it helps with their diet. We want to provide people with a healthy food selection, and so I think having this open case, and then of course with the new chest type freezers have been wonderful. They just help us maintain a supply of food in adequate condition for distribution.
And quality food, as you
Quality
mentioned. We
food,
want quality
absolutely.
food, and we want to get it in the hands of those that need it. And
Yes.
so over the last couple of months, I've been hearing about some big changes, and that to me seems like the biggest one that I've heard so far in my time doing this show. But Dick, let's take ourselves a break, and we'll come back just in one moment and talk a little bit more about the Taylorville Food Pantry. I'm joined here on the WTIM Morning Show by Dick Breckenridge, volunteer at the Taylorville Food Pantry. We'll come back around, give you some contact information, hours of operation, and more when we return. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station, WTIM. WTIM.
And we're back with the WTIM Morning Show here on your information station, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, I have Dick Breckenridge. He's a volunteer at the Taylorville Food Pantry. We talked a whole lot about their August numbers, their food sources, and various ways of produce, and the fact that nobody is paid. It is all on a volunteer basis. Dick, we'd like to just kind of get some basic information type of things out there so folks know where to go and where to get that support. What about the hours of operation for the Taylorville Food Pantry?
Okay, great question. So Thursday, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Saturday, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. And then Tuesday mornings, 8:30 to 10 a.m. We're open 3 days, those 3 times a week.
For the folks that, and this is a good schedule because you get the night shifters potentially. You get a chance for the morning shift or for the, during the day. And then on Saturday, hopefully everybody's got a chance at their weekend being off and can come for that support.
Yes, that's we want to have the ability to connect with our neighbors and provide a time that works for their schedule.
And in terms of getting some contact information, just say, hey, I want to reach out to somebody and make sure that I'm good for the month. What should I do?
Okay, so that telephone number is 217-820-2651.
2651.
And we do offer help sometimes to those that can't make it in. We have a system of outreach that we can deliver through advocates for the system and for the neighbor.
Perfect. So that is a look at what the Taylorville Food Pantry can do in terms of getting you this produce or coming on in and getting you said fresh meat, the produce, the whole likes. Well, Dick, thank you so much for joining us here on the WTIM Morning Show.
Well, thank you. And I will say, just as an ending, we have great people out there. We welcome everyone with a smile, and we're there to help. And we have a great staff out there of volunteers. I can't say enough about how they do.
Evidence right here in front of us with Dick Breckenridge, volunteer at the Taylorville Food Pantry here on the WTIM Morning Show, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville.
WTIM.